And if you guys remember, the way that we left off class last Wednesday was that challenge, make your own sea creature. Practice with the alignment tools, practice kind of trying to use our regular shapes to create something new or something different. So go ahead, no matter what, if you did this or if you didn't, please go ahead and sign on to Tinkercad. Hopefully we'll be joined by a couple others this evening. And out of curiosity, did anyone, at least who's here today, work on something that they would want to share? I'm just kind of putting together this fish real fast to show maybe some inspiration here. Alright, it's 7:05 and it doesn't look like anyone else has arrived, so we'll go ahead and get started with the lesson for today. Remember that you do have this this sea creature challenge, and if you have a moment, I would like you guys to give it a try. See what you can make. You know, when we're sitting here in class, we're just kind of limited with time. Everyone ends up making something that looks pretty similar, like the nameplate. Everyone should have ended up with a shape pretty similar to each other. And with the snowman and with the sea creature, just giving you guys an opportunity to make something of your own design. For example, I just used the sphere tool and the pyramid tool to make a fish. And I am sure as you look at this, there are a lot more things that you could do with this fish than what I have done. But the biggest thing I want you to focus on is using the align tools to make sure things are kind of snugly in place. So with this fin, I just made sure that it was aligned in the center of my fish by using the vertical align tool, or the hot dog side align tool. You can think about it like that. Okay. Is this the prettiest fish in the world? No, but it just uses the simple shapes, and that's what I want you guys practicing on. So any kind of sea creature, be it an octopus, a crab, fish, turtle, anything like that, I would love to see you guys work. All right. So today, when you sign into Tinkercad, you should get to a page that looks like this. What I want you guys to do is click the Learn page. And today, we are going to be continuing with our learning lessons. We're going to be learning and making Minecraft party glasses and then the cufflinks. And we're going to be learning how to copy and paste very quickly, very rapidly in the Minecraft party glasses. And we're going to be learning a little bit more just about using the work plane with cufflinks and duplication in cufflinks. Okay, so click on the sign into Tinkercad, click on the Learn tab, and get to the Minecraft party glasses. And raise your hand once you're ready to go. Okay, Grace, no worries. All right, Brianna, looks like it's just you and me for this lesson. Glad you're ready to go. Hopefully we'll get joined in a little bit. But, you know, you have my full attention. So if you have a question, let me know, okay? All right, let's go ahead and begin the lesson. Okay, there we go. So what I think is kind of cool when this lesson starts, you see all the shapes that are actually there. So if you select everything and hit ungroup, it shows you the original, oh man, I don't know how to it shows you the original shapes and the holes that they used to create the glasses, which I think is pretty cool. But let me undo what I just did so that we don't see all of it. But I think it's important to do things like that so you realize, you know, kind of everyone starts with the same shapes. It's not like they have special shapes for this. But anyway, start by taking a box and placing it into the orange. And we are going to scale it. As a review, you can right-click to orbit, and that lets you see the little orange guides. And since we want it to be 5, we'll start by making it shorter down to 5. And then, let's see, 6 by 6 millimeters. Whew. So something that we've mentioned, oh, hello Brooke, we're working on Tinkercad, so when you can, navigate yourself to sign in Tinkercad and get to the Minecraft party classes, and we're just on step 2. So one kind of cool thing that we haven't really talked about, but I know that your lessons have asked you to do, is change the snap grid. So right now, as you move along, it won't let you snap between 1 and 2 millimeters. You can't make something 1.5 millimeters. But if you reduce your snap grid, now you can go to 1 to 1.5 to 2, but you can't go to 1.25, right? So then you have to set it down. This is just the increments that it lets you snap to. And it wants us to do it down to 0.5, so we'll do that. All right, now here's what's cool. We're going to move the box over to one of these orange squares. And before, in other lessons where you had to command paste, copy paste, it would take a very long time, or you just have to copy paste move, to fill all of these. All you have to do is click the box and hold down Alt, and as you move, it makes a copy of the box. You just kind of pick up a copy and move it. Oops. Helps when you're pressing the right button. So this should just make your life a little bit easier. And you can see that it actually starts to go pretty fast. Okay, so raise your hand when you're ready to keep going. Brianna, I'm just going to repeat, and Brooke, it says, not sure if you're online, but when you're ready to keep going, just so we're, okay, good. Just so we're going at the same speed, because I'm not going to actually ask you to finish this in webinar tonight. It gets really tedious in just a moment. All right, so now stretch this one out. So we get to 24 millimeters. Whew. So it should be 24 by 6 if you accidentally move your rectangle. And we're going to use the same technique as before. And I find that it really helps when you change your view. You're going to click your shape, hold down Alt, and move it over into the 4 other rectangles. And again, take your time, just raise your hand when you're ready to move on. And Brooke, let me know if you're here, okay? Send me a message. All right. Okay, now we are, what I want you to do, Brianna, is just fill out one side of the glasses, okay? You don't have to do this whole middle side. I just want you to practice doing one side of the glasses. As you can see, a lot just got added on there. And then another point, if you want to finish these glasses, go for it. But just for today's webinar, this is just practicing using that Alt key. But the Alt, oh my goodness gracious, Brianna, are you done? Put your hand down. You're much speedier than I am. If you are done, just raise your hand again. We can move on. Oh wow. Okay. Goodness. Great. Let's move on. So it does remind you about grouping, but since we don't have a full day of glasses, we're not going to worry about it. Yours is going to ask you to move on to the cufflinks. And this one should be pretty easy. It's a review of work planes. So we're going to do this one real fast. And then we're going to get into one that's a little bit more challenging. Oh, you're not done. Oh, I'm sorry, Brianna. Your hand kept popping up, so I thought you were done. Take your time. Take your time, okay? I was very surprised by how fast you moved. That was the last slide, though. So. I was like, man, I need to brush up. Hey, Brooke, if you're there, please send me a message. It keeps saying you're going offline, so I'm not sure if you've joined us or not. Way, great. Wonderful. So, Brooke, right now, if you want to, at another point, do the Minecraft lesson, the Minecraft glasses, what it did is it taught you how to click on a shape, hold down Alt on your keyboard, and it makes a copy of your shape. Oops. So it acts as though you're about to move your shape, but it pulls out a copy, which is nice. But it's good practice. Right now, the lesson I want you to start with us on is the cufflinks. And then Brianna, just raise your hand whenever you finish the half of the glasses, and then pull up the cufflinks. Brooke, raise your hand whenever you get to the cufflinks page, please. And there is no rush tonight, ladies. We're going at your pace. And if there's anything you're interested in, or if you get stuck, just let me know. And for those of you who are watching this as a recording, we're just waiting with the final Minecraft glasses. Great. All right, Brooke, remember, just navigate to the cufflinks lesson as soon as you can. It's letting me tinker. One moment, Brianna. Should let me go in and tinker this. It did not. One moment. Okay. So go ahead and pull the cylinder. Great, Brooke. Good. Pull the cylinder into the little orange frame and click Next. Hey Rachel, just so you know, we're on Tinkercad and we are on the cufflinks lesson. We've done the Minecraft glasses lesson, but you can go ahead and do that later while watching the recording. For now, I'll just jump into the cufflinks. And the next step is to scale it down. Remember that the cone is for moving it, and the white box is to scale it. So you want to scale it down to 3 millimeters. And then click Next. It's okay, Rachel. I sent it to you, no worries. Okay, next step. Right now you're at 20 by 20 and you want your shape to be 10 by 10. That's what it means by 10 diameter. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit. I want to go ahead and point out that you really could make this, you don't need to make it so small, right? You have this whole work plane. Why are we making our cufflinks so small? Does anyone have an idea of why they want to type in and raise their hand and answer? Why are we making this cufflink so small? So I have to zoom in to make it. No thought? Why not just make the circle really big? Because you always want to keep in mind the fact that we are going to be, the goal of Tinkercad is to print our designs. So if you actually want to make cufflinks, you want to make them to fit in your sleeves. And cufflinks are a little thing that you can wear in your suit sleeve. See it at the end. So that's why they're making it. This is accurate. You can actually print your Tinkercad designs and they will be the size that you make them. This would be a 10 millimeter diameter cufflink. Okay. So we want to drag the work plane. You can find the work planes, it's this grid here. And this is really why we're doing this lesson today, as a review of how you can use the work plane. It allows you to stack the new shapes that you pull onto your work plane onto your previous shapes. And what we're going to do is Control C and Control V to paste our shape onto the work plane. If we hadn't have used the work plane, what would have happened is that the shape would have been pasted right next to, and we would have had to try to figure out exactly how high to pull it up. By using the work plane, it automatically sticks the shape on top. Go ahead and raise your hand if you need me to slow down for a moment. Let you catch up. No? All right. I'll keep on keeping on. Yes, that's absolutely okay, Rachel. No worries. Okay. So again, right now it's only going to let you choose things based on from 9 millimeters to 8 millimeters to 7 millimeters. That's because we have the snap grid set to 1 millimeter. But if you want it to be more specific, for example, if you wanted your shape to be 7.5 by 7.5, you would need to change your snap grid to 0.5, which now allows you to go in between each millimeter to the 0.5 level. You still can't make it 7.25 to do that, or at 7.75, you would make your snap grid to the 0.25 level. So we're switching ours to the 0.5 level for right now. And we want our diameter to be 3 by 3 millimeters. Very tiny. So I have this really helpful orange grid in the center of my cufflink. But as a reminder, if I didn't have that grid and I wanted to make sure that this top area was in the center of this bottom shape, I could use my align keys and align it on these two axes so that the center of the bottom circle is the same as the center of the top circle. Alright, now we're going to make this a little bit taller. I'm going to go up to 10 millimeters. And again, we're going to pull the work plane on top of this upper level. That's okay, Rachel. That sounds good. Just take turns. Chrome can make your computer run a little slow sometimes. My current laptop does not like Chrome very much. I love Chrome, personally, but it's a little old for Chrome. Okay, so we have our work plane on top of this upper cylinder. And we're going to drag the letters that we want on top. Now, if you guys remember from the plaques that we made with our names on them, we had our letters separate for our name. So I don't want OK on mine. I want mine to say my initials, DD. Well, for a 3D printer, it actually helps it if you have your letters overlap a little bit, just like how my D's are doing right now. It just helps the 3D printer when it goes to print. I'm going to make sure my initials are aligned just horizontally. I don't want to press this one or else my D's will be directly on top of each other. I want it so that the middle of this D is on the same line as the middle of this D. And you could do anything on top of your cufflink. You could do a heart, you could do a chicken foot, you know, whatever floats your boat, really. Oops. See what I just did? There we go. I'm going to group my D's together. Move them onto my cufflink. And then I want to center it just like you did with your snowman. So align, center, center. And let's say you can't really remember how to center it so that it's like a snowman where they're all centered together moving upwards, but not all the balls are on top of each other. Let's say I accidentally hit this one and it's like the whole shape is kind of centered on top of each other. I can just hit undo. So you don't have to memorize this stuff. Try to think it through. And you can look at the preview, but don't worry if you make a mistake. You can always hit undo. Raise your hand if you need a moment to catch up. Or, yeah, raise your hand if you need a moment to catch up. This isn't part of the lesson, but I want to remind you guys about holes. Holes can be a cool way to kind of add a little detail I'm going to drag my work plane on top of my 2Ds. And I'm going to add a heart indent to the center of my letters. So I'm going to drag my heart onto there. And this is an example. You really don't have to do this right now. I just wanted to remind you kind of how you can add little details with the heart shape, the hole, using the hole feature. So I want to align it so that it's at the center. I want to make it a hole. And just because I made it a hole doesn't mean that it's actually going to chip away any part of the shape. I actually have to press it into the shape. And wherever part of the hole and the shape interact with each other, that's where the hole is actually going to be once I group them together. And you can see the hole there. Of course, that's where I'm going to set my diamond, my heart-shaped diamond, into this plastic cufflink. Alright, I'm going to group the whole thing together now. Raise your hand if you need to see something again, or if you have a question, need more time. Alright, and it's just telling you now to scale it. Oh, well, I have mine all grouped together. You'd have to ungroup it first. But you could scale just this green part, make it a little flatter. And then group it together. Now, it's asking you, to copy and paste. Let me get rid of this work plane. If I were to copy and paste my cufflinks right now, what would happen? Can anyone take a guess? Well, let me show you what would happen. Why is it doing this? Why aren't they on the same level? I pasted my cufflink and it's not down there. It's floating. It's because I didn't return to my regular works plane. So I'm going to hold down Alt on my keyboard like I learned during the Minecraft Glasses lesson. And pull out another cufflink. And there we go. And when you're done, you can just complete the lesson and return to your dashboard. We're not going to do the chess pawn piece today. Raise your hand when you're ready to continue. Great, Brianna is ready, Brooke is ready, Rachel, Hannah, hope you guys are ready to join in the next part with us. Wonderful. Okay, so this one's a little bit more challenging. We're jumping up to a challenge, and I think it will help you with your sea creature challenge. As a reminder, I would love to see your sea creatures. We're going to go to the Learn page and scroll down, scroll down. This. Keep scrolling till you get to the Kraken. And we are going to begin this lesson. It's a pretty cool creature. And it's actually not too challenging. What I really, really want to encourage you to do is... Okay, Rachel and Hannah, that's okay. I just want to be able to continue going, so work to catch up. Also, you'll have the recordings later, so no no pressure to rush. But I want you guys to start thinking about these simple shapes and how you can alter and change them to create these neat designs. Okay, so we're starting with a blank canvas, and we're going to be using the rotate tool a lot in this lesson. We're going to start with the cylinder. And actually, this cylinder is actually going to be a hole. So it said drag in a cylinder hole. I misread that. But if you drag in an orange cylinder like I did, you can just click hole. Just switch it to a hole. And the reason that we are doing this, the reason that we are making this hole, is because we are going to be using a donut shape, and we really only want half of a donut. So the hole is going to convert our donut shape to half of a donut. If I can get this to work. Okay, it needs to be 120 by 120. There we go. Move it into the center of the orange. Needs to be 140. Oops. Height of 40. And notice how I changed my view. This cylinder is actually underground. Whoops. So I used the little cone on top of my shape. Oh, there we go. That took some finagling. So raise your hand when you're ready to move forward. Great. Brooke, let me know if you're having any trouble. Also, let me know when you're ready to keep going. Oh, great. Okay. Now, we're going to make those legs. So we're going to take the thin torus. It's not going to be super thin for very long. These are going to be the legs of our creature. We're going to make it 100 by 70. What am I doing here? By 10. And let's say you keep grabbing the hole by accident. You can click Lock Transformation, and now you're not going to be able to accidentally grab the hole. Again, how I did that, I clicked the hole and I clicked Lock Transformation. Alright, raise your hand when you're ready to continue. Great. Okay, now we're going to work on the rotation tool. So 90 degrees is a really normal rotation to do. I can rotate it like if they're spinning like a ballerina. I can rotate it like it's doing a somersault forward. What we're looking for is this rotation here, like turning a doorknob. And since it's a regular rotation, I can do the rotation wheel. Everybody, eyes on my screen for a moment. Notice how my rotation is moving by pretty much 20 degrees. So we're at 22.5, then 45, then 22.5, then 45. This is with my mouse close to the shape. If I extend my mouse further out, notice that now we're moving up by 1 degree. So this is going to be something that we're practicing today. Alright, so 90 degrees. And then drop it down. Go ahead and give that a try. And again, just let me know when you're ready. Try to imagine what this shape would look like once the hole is grouped with the arm. You'd actually have to unlock your transformation first. It's just going to look like that half shape there. All right. Now we're actually going to learn another copy-paste technique. So we know a couple. We know that you can just do Control-C and Control-V, V as in Viper, to copy and paste the shape. You also now know that you can select a shape and hold down Alt to pull off a shape. If you just want to duplicate a shape in place so that the duplicate is exactly where the first one was, you can hit Control D or Control Duplicate, and you'll see the outline goes yellow for a moment. Control D. And this is going to place a copy directly on top of the object you just duplicated. Then you're going to want to rotate this copy 90 degrees. So we get our strange kraken legs. I promise they will look more like kraken legs eventually. Again, that's Control D. And the next thing we're going to do is actually select both legs, hit Control D on our keyboard, and rotate the two new legs 45 degrees together as a group. So now we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 legs, all perfectly symmetrical. Raise your hand once you've got this. And send me a message if you want me to do it again, or you kind of got lost somewhere, it's not working for you. So just raise your hand when you're ready to continue. Great. All right, the next step is the head. To do that, you're going to scroll all the way down till you get to see your extras. And you're going to click the egg, and click and drag the egg so that it fits in the little orange space. It's going to be like the octopus's body. Again, that's in extras. And this gets a little tricky. You're going to rotate the egg 150 degrees. So you're going to use this rotation like it's doing a somersault. This one here. And you're going to rotate the egg. And it's going to want to have you choose between 135 and 157. I'm going to, do it this way, negative. Yeah, so what you're going to have to do is click and drag your mouse further away. There you go. And you want that big part on top. And remember, you're going to have to use the cone to drag the octopus head up. And change your view a lot to make sure that what you have is correct, because 3D space can be very misleading. I would say, girls, raise your hand when you're ready to continue, but we only have a few minutes to finish this lesson, and I definitely want it to be on the recording. So if you want, you can follow along with me just by watching for the next couple of minutes, and then you'll have the recording in addition. But I do want this to be out so that you guys can finish your Kraken. We're going to work on the eyes by using a thick torus and a sphere stacked together, like a really good donut. And a sphere, and that's like the pupil. Remember that you're changing your view. So you want to move and scale the sphere, holding down Shift so that it's a uniform scale, to 10 millimeters. I'm going to move it to the middle of the thick torus, and to make sure it's in the middle, I'm going to align them. Then I'm going to group them together. Okay, this was happening to me before. For some reason on my screen, it's not showing me where it wants the eyes to be. The outlined area in orange is not present. Yeah, I cannot see it for the life of me. So what I'm going to do is just estimate. It's about right here. So what you're going to do, let's go back one, is rotate the eye up by 90 degrees. It's a big rotate. And then you're going to rotate it to the side by 55. Since we don't have the orange, or at least I don't have the orange guideline, it's actually good practice for how, when you create your sea creatures, how you're going to place your eyes and objects onto the sea creature. So you're going to have to use the cone tool and your mouse to kind of move to where you think a good spot for the eye is. I actually think that looks pretty good. Kind of nested in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this eye by hitting Control D. And then I'm going to go to Adjust Mirror and mirror the eye. And what that does is it flips the eye. And remember, don't get stressed if you know, I know I'm moving quickly, but you will have this recording. So I mirrored that eye so that I knew that the angle would be exact for the other side of its head. And now I'm just trying to slowly but surely get something similar. Once I have the eyes in similar placement, what I'm going to do is select both eyes by clicking one, holding Shift down on my keyboard, selecting the other, and aligning them. I want to make sure, yeah, and it already says actually they're aligned so that they're at the same height. And now that they're aligned, so they're kind of both set into the octopus at the same spot. So that's good news for me. Now I'm going to select the first eye, hold down Shift, select the second eye, group them together. And then I'm going to select the octopus and adjust align. And make sure that they're all aligned in the center there. And they are. And great, and now my Kraken is pretty much done. Okay, so I know that was a lot pretty fast. When you're done, oops, looks pretty close.